Hello and welcome back to Dread Delusion. We are at the point where we left off last time, although I actually started over because I thought I could do a bit better. I'm using mouse and keyboard now, which is helping me quite a bit, and also I've just decided to go non-lethal so far, because fighting enemies doesn't really get you anything, and yeah, that has been that has paid off because now I have 9 health potions and 7 mana potions. Well, I haven't used mana potions yet. I've also found 2 more pieces of ore on my way here. So now I can actually... And I also found a blacksmithing station, which I think I missed the last time, because it's in a place where we have been. It's kind of where we find a drunken mercenary. And I think I talked to her last time. But yeah, we can upgrade our sword, so then maybe we'll actually stand a chance if I have to fight something. But for now, I've again just spoken to, or had an encounter with Vela, and now we are going to speak with the Inquisitor. This looks like an interesting landmark. I've also spoken to someone. I found an NPC that talks about maps, but he didn't actually have a map for me, but he told me to go speak with someone that might have one. Or can help me with it. He told me to look out for a red tent, I believe. I wonder, do you still say the same thing? Yes. Yep. These don't update. So yeah, again, this game is in early access, but this is probably a thing. I mentioned it last time, but they kind of... so they advise you to just, you know, there's not really any, you're not gaining much by defeating all the enemies. You might get a few coins and maybe an extra health potion, but if you get hit a few times, then you basically gain nothing. But yeah, the problem is that at that point with the bridge, there is you have to fight enemies to get to another of these tutorial guys. So I wanted to speak to him, but yeah, kind of goes against the grain a bit. Anyway, so I think they should relocate that I don't even know really what these guys are called. Kind of the tutorial beasties. They should change the position of that one. Anyway, let's have a chat with the Inquisitor here. So, Vela escaped, hey? Our drones detected her vessel's departure. I couldn't apprehend her, I failed. I played your little game, will you let me free? So yeah, let's just be nice about this. I couldn't apprehend her, I failed. Well, you survived, and that's something. From the looks of you, I was sure you'd be butchered almost immediately. Well, and anyway, the deal still stands. Vela's still out there, and with you looking for her, the mission is not a failure, not technically. Next, we need to ascertain where Vela may have gone. We have intel on a number of Darkstar mercenaries who flew the roost. We need to pay them a visit. On the surrounding islands, there should be 3 of these rogue Darkstar mercenaries. Check your quest log for further information. In the meantime, we can use this God War fortress as a base of operation. Return here if you need to resupply. I'm giving you an apostatic Union passport document. It will grant access across the Union Great Bridge, like the one to the south. So what are you waiting for? Get going. And anyway, the deal still stands. Vela's still out there. The mission is not yet a failure technically. Okay. Let's see. Yep, mercenaries. 3 of them. 3 rogue mercenaries. So I may have already found one, although I'm not sure if the drunken mercenary is actually a rogue mercenary. I think she's probably just too drunk to pay us any mind. One thing that I have noticed is that with the saving system being what it is, it's a bit... I don't know. The thing is, when I booted up my old save, so this is now just a new save, and I haven't died yet, so I've not met that god character yet. But when I reloaded the save that I was playing the first time, I got put back all the way at the beginning, at that statue where we respawned quite a few times when I died. So I was quite a way off. So that's a bit of a shock, really, where you not really sure where you reappear when you shut the game off. Anyway, let's have a look. So now we can pass that bridge, I guess. Right, I have found 2 delusions, which again I have missed the first time around, but now I have them. So now I have 1 full bar, so I think I can upgrade 1 point. Or maybe 2, I don't know. I'm thinking I should just pick more guile, because I really like the idea of being able to lockpick quite easily. Let's do one of these. Okay. And then maybe might. Hang on. 10 stamina. Charm 5. Let's get some defense and attack. There we go. Ah, didn't know I had 2 points actually. That's it. That's where the drunken mercenary is. Let's go pay her a visit. Whoa. Actually going non-lethal or trying to avoid combat as most of the time is might not be a bad idea, because this game does have a faction system. So that way you don't unnecessarily become... so yeah, I've been here this time. Been here already. That's one of those delusion things. That's what you need to collect to up your stats. But the thing is, I need to charm the officer in the building here to get in. But they also give you a lockpick around here, so I have this idea that you might be able to lockpick your way in, because it seems silly to have being charming the only way to come to get inside, but I'm not sure. Anyway. I think we can upgrade our weapon here, but let's talk to you first. Back again? Yeah, so I need... I think it even says how much charm I need. I need 20. But I only have 5. I'll leave it to you, Rail. So you are not one of those rogue mercenaries that I need to speak to. So now I can probably, because I have 3 ore, I can upgrade this. Which I guess I'm just gonna do. Yes. There we go. Doubled our damage. And it looks a lot nicer. But yeah, again, up until now I've only really used my sword to open crates. This is the NPC that's talking about a map. And I think with our passport we can get across that. Oh my, what's all that commotion over yonder? I appear to be quite lost. I bought a map of those Oneric Isles back in Riova, but they seem to be decades out of date. That's the trouble with these fringe islands. Every few decades they've floated into different positions. Take my advice, traveler. If you're looking to explore, make sure you find an accurate map. So yeah, he kind of repeats the exact same dialogue, but that's not... this was actually rather interesting what he was talking about, so I might have to read that again. Do you know where I can find a map? Well, I noticed the Erudite Academy is flying overhead. Can you see it up there in the sky? It travels all over the Apostatic Union, so I've heard. I met one of their scholars in a red tent near the Hollow Town. Believe it or not, they're working on a map of the region right now, only it's not quite ready. Still, I try asking them. Worth a shot, eh? So yeah, red tent near the Hollow Gate, Hollow City. Where are you trying to get to? Oh, I'm trying to get to the Endless Realm. It is said to be a place where people never die, even though the flesh peels from their bones. As a boy, my mother would scare me with tales of the Cadaver Crusades, when the Endless would hunt the living and feast on their still warm bodies. It would scare me witless, but still, I always dreamed of going there someday. And I have it on good authority that they've reformed their ways. They only eat non-sentient meat, and are on good terms with the Apostatic Union. So I said to myself, what do I have to lose? He gulps. Well, I suppose they could still eat me. Farewell. So yeah, a bit of a... bit of lore there, a bit of history. I didn't notice this here actually. This may not have been here when I first got here, so that's a bit odd. Anyway. Greetings. The bridge is closed unless you're a bearer of a genuine Apostatic Union passport. So if you've not got one, get lost. We're gonna get a passport. I've got a passport. I'll be going then. Yeah, I've got a passport right here. Oh, it's removed right away. Seal looks good. I'm not seeing any signs of magical forgery. Yep, looks like you can pass. Do you have anything else to say? He rifles through some paperwork. Yep, looks like you're on the list. Go on, get going. Oh. Well, that's a save point. I don't know if this game actually has manual save points. Kingsfield does. So actually, while I was playing last time, a patch was released. So as soon as I shut it off, the game got patched. But I don't think it changed. It was kind of a little patch, not a big content patch or anything. I do think they may have resolved that dialogue problem that I was having, where the comma wouldn't show up on abbreviations. But that may just have been a case of rebooting it one time. So there's money on top of that. Maybe you could jump on that and then go down. I saw a goblin character. Yeah, I'm not gonna mess with that. The main menu actually mentions, I only read that just before I started this run, that but that's kind of, I think, normal for early access games. I'm just not used to them. I don't really play many early access games, but it mentions actually that if there is a big update, that your save game might be null and void, which makes sense if they change a lot of stuff. Yeah, I think only I was thinking about that. Early access games. What other early access games have I played? And I think the only one I can actually think of is Valheim, which I just, the whole world seemed to be going crazy over that game. So I thought, well, I might as well try it. It's cheap enough. But yeah, I really didn't care for that game. Maybe there's a point where that building system kind of clicks, and you. But I thought it was kind of a hassle just to build anything. And the gameplay outside of the building stuff wasn't really all that interesting to me. And then I thought, well, maybe I just don't like those types of games. But I did play a whole lot of, well, I say a whole lot, I think over 60 hours, which again might not be too much given the game, but I have over 60 hours in that Conan game that has base building, which has a ridiculous amount of installation space to go to get it running. I think it's well over 100 gigs. Yeah. Saving, okay. The world does seem to open up a bit. I've seen this before. This is on one of the images. Might be an inn or a tavern. This is something? A plant? Paradoxicus? That was something that I had not found before, but I have found one earlier in the tutorial area. An impossible flower that seems to shift between different shapes can be used as an alchemy ingredient. This herb seems to defy the very principles of reality, often appearing differently depending on how it is observed. It is much prized by scholars and wizards. Okay. Oh, it's adjusted. Thing is, so you can only carry 12 lockpicks now, but I think at some point I actually had. I might have had one. Well, maybe I had one less than the maximum. I thought that maybe at some point I picked up a bundle of 3, and then I thought it had problems going. So if you're at 10 and you get 3, then maybe it has trouble sticking to topping it up off at 12, so you get 13 instead of where the maximum is 12. But I'm not sure actually. That might have been. So yeah, maximum of 12. Seem to have quite a big area to explore. What? I'm kind of grateful that the music has changed because it was getting a bit annoying. Can we get back up if I jump down? I think so. Because I really am interested in going inside, but let's get this stuff. So yeah, this should say can't carry anymore. Yep. Well, let's head inside. They've had one too many. Whoa. Return home. A teleportation spell that transports the caster to the last crystal points touched. Though widely used by scholars, some still prefer to walk. They claim the chance of being incorrectly teleported off of a cliff is not negligible. See. Hang on. Let's. So I take it that is a spell. Equip the item. Well, sure. I wonder. Well, it probably costs mana, doesn't it? Yeah. Whoa! I guess that did it already. Alright, well. Let's have a chat with this fellow. Welcome to the Wobbly Noggin. If you're in need of rest, we've beds and ale aplenty. Aha, so we have multiple options. I'd like to buy a drink. Sure, let's try. Oh, what's going on with his shirt there? That is wobbling very much. Sure thing, we recently got a big shipment of fine wine from Riova, so I can give you a good deal on a bottle. Though if you're looking for cipher wine, we've been short ever since the Clockwork Kingdom shut its borders. He doesn't seem to have anything. Maybe that's a system that doesn't work yet? I don't know. Can I ask you some questions? Talk is free, friend. Do you know of any work going? What can you tell me about Hollow? What's with the skull? Thanks. I suppose this is just asking if he has any work for us? Ah, we get a quest. Well, I've heard Vernon Burstein is looking for adventurers. Not sure what he's after, but he's the richest man in town, so I dare say it's worth a punt. Go to the Winged Merchant Guild on the main road if you're interested. Alright. I want to ask you some more questions. What can you tell me about Hollow? Or should I say hello? Well, most of us are simple farmers. Folk have been around here since the world was rend. Making ends meet. After the Guard War, we joined the Apostatic Union. But they mostly left us to our business until recently. The unions has seen fit to take a more direct hand in affairs. See, they claim our crops grow with illegal god magic, that organized cultisms run rife. But in trying to stomp that out, they've started a goddamn famine. Most of us are thinking we'd better off without the damn union, frankly. So we could also ask him about the skull, right? What's with the skull? Oh, you noticed? Ha! Big fella, ain't he? He's a relic of the God War. One of the old gods who got a void steel spear right through the peeper. His noggin wobbled, and then he came crashing down into this pub. You want to know the funny thing? The pub is already called the Wobbly Noggin, on account of the state of most of the patrons. Alright. I'd like to rent a room. The skull suite vacant. It's yours for 2 coins. I'll take it. Thank you. It's just up the stairs there. Just look for the wall of bone. You can't miss it. Alright. So, yeah, then we can help get our fatigue back up. Keep an eye on the neuron star, friend. It's got a 12-hour pulse cycle, and most of the shops close when it's dark. Okay. Keep an eye on the neuron star. It's got a 12-hour pulse cycle. Most shops close when it's dark. Okay, so if you're used to the longer days and nights of the mainland, Union's countries, you may find it strange. What can you tell me about neuron stars? Well, I don't know where you're from, but many people live their whole life in the cycle of a single neuron star, believing all day and night to be the same. But the world is wrapped in a blanket of interconnected neuron stars, and each one is different. They all travel in regular movements though, and pulse brighter at certain times. Hellshire star circles all the surrounding islands. Every 12 hours it pulses brightest at noon and shrinks to be darker at night. People here will sleep more often and for less time than a place with a longer cycle. Right. Of course, there are some places so far from a neuron star that they've trapped in perpetual night, and others where a single day can last hundreds of hours. You had more to say, don't you? What happens at night around here? Well, at night the shops shut in town and most locals sleep. You may find that out in the countryside there are other things that only occur at certain times too. Okay, so we have a day and night cycle to keep track of. Welcome to the Wobbly Noggin, friend. You look like the adventuring sort. Take some advice from an old fool. If you're exploring the countryside, come back and rest often. So yeah, thanks for the advice. Yeah, he's probably just gonna mention that we need to get our fatigue back up, kind of the yellow bar at the bottom. Quest started the guard hunt, calling all denizens of the apostatic union. Our land is beset with the most terrible famine. Can you sit idle while your crops fail and your loved ones perish? We all know who is to blame, the god worshipper, the cultist. For too long they have uttered their dread prayers from the fringes of society, bringing terrible omens upon our lands. Our polymath humbly requests the aid of every denizen in this matter. Visit the Apostatic Union's council building in the center of town to inquire further. Thornwood Manor. To be sold, Thornwood Manor. Yeah, I think I read something about this. There is sort of a housing system in this game, I believe. A 200-year manor, once stately and fine, that has fallen into disrepair. The manor grounds comprise an entire island, just off the south of Hellshire. With the right investor, this could be a thriving estate once more. For inquiries, visit the clerk in Hellowtown Council. Alright. So he said something about the bone wall, but I don't see anything. Oh, I see. Yep, this is the bed. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, that picture frame is floating. Let's explore a bit further before we go in. What's this? Guide to the Oniric Isles by Niccolo Lopo, 1442. It was a sweltering day in Riova when my editor burst through the door. The twin stars of Vena were dancing high that day, bathing the city in a searing yellow haze. "Niccolo," he yelled, After nearly dislodging my front door from its hinges, the impact of his entry had caused my house to sway, suspended as it was, like all houses in Riova, from the interconnected web of pulleys, cables and bridges that kept the city aloft. "You are going to Oneric Isles," he declared. "Your ship leaves tomorrow." I must confess I was taken aback. The periodical I wrote for the Weekly Mail was mostly concerned with the petty drama of Riova's wealthy elite, with little penchant for travel memoir. But then the proliferation of cipher-based periodicals with their self-updating calligraphy was making my editor nervous. He had clearly decided that sending me to the arse end of nowhere to my certain demise would titillate our readership and bring in some coin. Many citizens know of the Oneric Isles only from fairy tales. It is a small archipelago of little political import, drifting around the southernmost edge of the apostatic Union's borders, while its central region of Hellowshire saw fierce fighting during the Guard War. It has only recently been absorbed into the apostatic Union territorial sphere. What both excited my editor and perturbed myself was the inarguable wilderness of these strange islands. They are illuminated by a single neutron star, which orbits close to the islands, dousing them in a magenta light. The Wyken Coven of the Worm has long squirmed in the dark recesses of Hellowshire, and has caused nothing but trouble for the Union force stationed there. Similarly, the historic lawlessness of that place has made it a dark haven for smugglers, pirates and brigands alike. Meanwhile, beyond the Union's territory lies even stranger islands. The archipelago's western edge are home to the notorious Endless, who feature in many whispered old wives' tales, but have rarely been glimpsed by mortal eyes. And from the stories, the ones that have glimpsed the Endless were eaten. The eastern islands, mind you, are very different. The realm of Cordova, which famously declined to enter the apostatic Union's Commonwealth after the Guard War, has been found there. Its exact relocation cannot be dated, as is so often the case with islands drifting unrecorded through the sky realms. But the strange complex machines that are being constructed there have caught the attention of many of the Union scholars and etherists. To travel to such a place then was a folly of the highest order. Indeed, I would have turned down the venture in an instant were I not facing imminent bankruptcy. So, with a heavy heart, I accepted and began to pack my things. These volumes, originally published in my column in the Weekly Mail, recount my foolhardy venture into the strange and dangerous Oneric Isles. So yeah, already quite a bit of lore to this game, and from the developer's diary that I saw, it's still ongoing. They're still fleshing stuff out. Oh yeah, I can't carry anymore. You know what? I think I'll read that next time. Shouldn't I? So, hang on. Did I use one? Yeah, so I can pick one up again. I think that was what is throwing me off. Okay, this is your maximum and this is your current. No. I see, so I do have... What? Oh. Yeah, so I have more than the maximum. The maximum is 12. No, the maximum is 11 and I have 12. And that's probably because I picked up a stack of lockpicks, which makes it go over the maximum, I guess. So I did use one just now, but anyway. Let's see what's up here. Aha, another delusion. So, yeah, I just can't carry anymore. Alright. So maybe I just get 2 points whenever I fill this up? Probably, because now I don't have a point to spend. And these are minus because I'm fatigued right now. So let's have a look at this. Yeah, again, it's nice that they give you the options to turn that stuff off. I still kind of like it, although you could say that maybe it's just a bit too gimmicky and you get tired of it at some point, so you might want to turn it off. But I don't know, for now it kind of works, honestly. Yeah, I'm kind of fascinated with the kind of just the aesthetics for one, but also that even with these crude graphics, there is still quite a lot of artistic value in stuff like this. Really like that. You know what? Let's read that other book, and then I'll sleep, and then we'll call it an episode. Because otherwise, we start the next episode off by reading a whole bunch, which is kind of boring, I suppose. Before our airship rose a writhing mass of flesh taller than any tree, any structure, any living thing. It filled the horizon with its ghastly form. A hand rose to thwart us, or should I say many hands, for the thing's flesh bubbled and boiled with minute approximations of the whole. Its arms was made from many arms. Its screaming face had countless gaping mouths. Ooh. The captain's voice bellowed across the deck. Being no navy woman, I cannot recount these orders, but the ship began to lurch to the side, a futile attempt at evasion. With an almighty crash, I was flung against the ship's bow. We spun in free fall, though splinters and dust could see the other. Through splinters and dust, I could see the other half of the ship. We had been split in twain, and the ground was rushing to meet us. The ship exploded into fragments as it struck land, but I did not feel the impact. I levitated just inches from the wreckage, a glow encircling me. I could see the hand of an erudite academy scholar buried in the rubble. It twitched, the glow flickered, and I fell safely to the ground. I know not who saved my life in place of their own, but I think of them often. The creature towered above me, staring with many eyes, howling with many mouths. These were the closing months of the Guard War, and the Wiccans had become desperate. Faced with their annihilation, they had embraced practices that had long been forbidden. Whatever lurched towards me had once been a god, though it could not be called that any more. As it raised its arms to strike me, its bulk blocked the light of the Neuron star. Against my better judgment, against the very ideology to which I had committed myself, I uttered a prayer to my family's patron god, a god I had seen cut to pieces not a month before. Who knows, maybe some vestigial remnant of that god yet remained and took pity on me. A hideous noise erupted from the monster. Its flesh had always shifted in some eldritch pattern. but now it appeared to flow like liquid. Huge chunks of it began to drop to the ground, exposing glimpses of a skeleton. Whatever spell the Wiccans had cast, whatever power flowed through this entity, it was failing. At that moment, our sister ship burst from the clouds at blistering speed. A dozen cannons erupted into fire, and the creature rippled with explosions. A void stone lance, itself the size of a small vessel, was flung directly into the monster's skull. Aha, I was expecting this. The thing buckled and bent under its own weight. It appeared to be melting. The skin tore around its neck, its head bent back in an unnatural way, eventually dropping to the ground. I would later discover that it crushed a nearby pub. After a few moments, all appeared to be left was a steaming mount of flesh and bone. So yeah, that's the origin story of the skull here. So yeah, let's have a rest. Let's see what happens if we do that. I wonder if we only get to sleep once or if you just own the room now. Well, then again, for 2 gold, probably not. Daytime, probably morning. Yeah. Here we are. Okay. Still drunk. I wonder what happens if we ask him about the room now. Welcome to the Wobbly Noggin. If you're in need of rest, we've beds and ale aplenty. So yeah. Changed my mind. No problem. Farewell. So yeah, we need to pay him every time we want to sleep in there, I suppose. Which makes sense, it's only 2 coins. Yeah, I'll leave it at here for now. So, thank you for watching, and see you next time. Goodbye.